Welcome to this free immigration help channel. In this video, I will show you step by step on how to fill out Form I-765, application for employment authorization document. Now, I have done a video like this quite some time ago, about 3-4 years ago, and there was actually a recent update that happened to the Form I-765, so I decided to make another one of these videos updated for 2023. So without further ado, let's begin. As you can see, I have USCIS.gov open in front of me. This is the official website for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and all the information that I provide on this channel and in this video will be directly from the official source, USCIS.gov government website. So this is the front page. We're gonna navigate to the forms, and you can see the forms here in the very top navigation menu. We're gonna click on that, and the very first option here in topics, you will see all forms. I'm gonna click on that, and it will open up all of the forms that are available from USCIS. You can either search the form that you're looking for. You can either type in, for example, employment authorization document, or you can scroll down and find a form I-765. Here we go. Where is it? There we go. Application for employment authorization document. So as you can see, the very first thing you see, it's now available to file online, which is great news because whenever you're filing an application online, it saves a lot of time because you're not spending time filling out the paper application, putting all the documents together, sending it by mail. You know, you send it by mail, the application package gets into the mailbox, it sits there until it's picked up, then it's delivered on the table of the immigration officer who's reviewing your case, then they review your application. It's a lot of steps, all right? Whenever it comes to filing the application online, as soon as you submit it, as soon as you pay the fee, that's it. The application is already submitted and it is already there on the table, right? Kind of metaphorically speaking, of the immigration officer. So with that being said, I highly recommend filling out this application online. All right, so let's talk about this page a little bit here. This is a dedicated page for the application for employment authorization. The very first thing you will see, now you might not see that, but depending on when you're filling out this application, when you're watching this video, you will have at the very beginning, you will have the most recent alert. So as you can see, there's an alert, there's a recent update for filing location for special immigrant juveniles filing. If that's applicable to you, now you know that there's an alert for it. You can read more about it. To improve efficiency and reduce Form I-765 processing times for Form I-485 applicants, USCIS may decouple Forms I-765 from Form I-131. Again, if that's applicable to you, you can read more. As of April 1st, 2022, quite recent update, we will no longer accept a single combined fee payment for the filing of Form I-539. Application to extend Form I-765. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. If you're filing combined applications, you cannot combine the fee. You will have to put separate checks for each application. Very important update. So read through. The point is, read through these updates because it might be applicable to you. All right, then the next option you will see is file online. Again, whenever I was making the first video, there was no option to file this application online. So if you're watching this video a year and a half, from now, and there is no option to file online, it happens. I'll try to consistently make these updated videos. But if you see something different, it happens because USCIS, they change stuff. And speaking of changes, I wanted to scroll down here. There are a few drop-down menus here. The first one I wanted to show you is the edition date. Edition date is the current edition of the application, of the form that is available from USCIS. And currently, as you can see, the edition date is October 31st, 2022, which is just a few months ago, there was an update to I-765. So it's important for you to keep it in mind. Make sure to check it, because a lot of times if you're filing a paper application, again, that's a benefit of filing the application online, because you're not going to have problems like this, because you will always have the most updated stuff in front of you. But with a paper application, you're watching this video, you're downloading the application, and then you're filling it out maybe a few months down the road, right? It might be out of date. And sometimes USCIS, they do not accept outdated applications. So keep that in mind. Make sure you verify the edition date. All right, these few things we will talk about after we're done with the actual application, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to use a paper application. It's going to be the same exact questions that you will have in online application. So it's exactly the same process, just online application makes it much faster. All you have to do for the online application, you will have to register. If you don't already have a USCIS online account, just register there with your email, with the password and all that sort of stuff. And in the drop-down menu, just select this application. There will not be a lot of options because there's not a lot of applications that are available to fill out online. Just select the I-765 and go ahead, start filling it out as I fill out the paper application. So I'm going to open the paper application, and I will also open the instructions for the form I-765. And I do recommend you pausing this video, and going through the instructions. Now it's quite a lot of pages. What is it, like 20 something? 27 pages total. You don't have to read it from the beginning to the very end, right? Because there's, there's DHS privacy notice, there's Paperwork Reduction Act, but some of the things you definitely want to be familiar with in the instructions. For example, the eligibility. What is the very first thing you need to know? Based on what are you applying for the employment authorization document? Are you really eligible for the employment authorization document? Now, I am assuming that, since you're watching this video, you already know your eligibility category. You already know that, yes, I am definitely eligible for work permit in the United States, and I am ready to complete this application. But if you're not familiar, if you're not sure, this is where you can find all your answers. Who may file Form I-765 and all of those different categories. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them here. You will have to go through them and find out for yourself if you're not aware yet. But keep it open regardless, just in case. While you're filling out the application, keep these instructions open. I will put these links in the description below. So just click on them, have them open, because it makes it much easier to find the answers, just in case if I miss something in the video. So finally, 8 minutes later in this video, we have the application for employment authorization open in front of us. For the purposes of this video, we're going to use our usual suspect, John Doe, who is from Brazil. He came into the United States as a student. I think he came as a student, and then he applied for asylum because he was persecuted back in his home country for belonging to a certain political party. All right. And he was granted asylum, and well, maybe he's not granted. He's still pending. Let's do still pending asylum. He's pending asylum, and he didn't have the interview yet. He didn't have the response yet. It's been more than 6 months. So based on pending asylum, he is now eligible to apply for the employment authorization document so that he could legally work in the United States of America. Okay, so now you know our usual suspect example. Obviously yours is going to be yours, but here in this video to fill it out, I'm gonna use our guy John Doe. So as you can see, you will be starting it from over here. If you're filling out online, you don't have to worry about this, but if you're still doing the paper application, you're starting down here. You're not touching anything here. This is specifically for the immigration officer, and there is also a part here for the attorney, representative of the BIA. If you're interested in BIA, check out, I've done a separate video on it. Okay, so reason for applying, part 1. I am applying for, there are a few options. Initial, permission to accept employment. replacement of lost, stolen, or damaged employment authorization document, renewal of my permission to accept. So in our case, in our example, it's going to be initial permission. If you're applying for the very first time for employment authorization document, it's going to be this very first one. Obviously, if you're replacing because it was lost, stolen, or damaged, if there was a mistake in your EAD, this is what you're doing. And then renewal. All right. That's just a renewal if your old one is expiring. Okay, moving further, information about you, obviously the applicant. So in our case, it's going to be Doe John. Middle name, he does not have middle name, so we'll put not applicable. And with that being said, I mention it in on every single video that I make, don't leave blank spaces in the application. The only blank space you can leave is this right here. That's it. Everything else, for example, other names used. John Doe, he doesn't have any other names. That's the only name he has. John Doe with no middle name. So I put not applicable because there is no middle name. So for this stuff, we're going to put not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. You get the point. All of these fields, we're going to put not applicable. And it might seem silly if this is the first video that you're watching on this channel. It might seem like, well, what are we doing this? This is dumb. We shouldn't be doing this. But I cannot tell you how many times I've seen with attorney, without attorney, these applications coming back to applicant with the letter from USCIS saying, hey, don't leave any blank spaces, go through the whole application, fill out not applicable or none, and then send it back to us. It's silly, but it wastes a lot of time. This little silly mistake, something that you could have done right now, right? Spend a little bit extra time, be diligent. It avoids wasting a lot of time, because if you send the paper application, if it's sent back to you, and then you send it back again, you easily waste 2 months of time. And 2 months of time is precious time, because in 2 months you could have already had that employment authorization document. So you definitely don't want to waste your time. And this is one of the things that USCIS seem to really care about. I usually say that I assume that because they do it this way because they don't want if somebody else gets the hand on the application, so that they don't fill any information into the application instead of you. All right, but that's just my assumption. Regardless, whatever the reasoning is, just do it. It's not that hard. Go through the whole thing and put not applicable if it's not applicable. Okay, part 2, information about you, your US mailing address. Now, mailing address is where you get your mail. Okay, so we'll put in care of, it's going to be John Doe, obviously, because it's he is the applicant. Street number, obviously 123 street, whatever. Apartment, suite number, floor, if it does have applicable. If not, leave it not, just put not applicable. Here's the it's the white one. So when you print out the application, you can't fill it out on the computer. So you'll have to print out the application, and with black ink you will have to follow up and put that. City, town, state, zip code. Is your current mailing address the same as your physical address? Okay, that's if you live in one place and receive the mail in another. If that's the case, most of the times it's the case, yes. If it's not the case, then no. If you answered no, provide your physical address below. You'll have to fill it out by hand, looks like here. If it's yes, then just put not applicable once you print out the application. Okay, moving further, other information. We got alien registration number. In our example, John Doe definitely has the alien registration number because he applied for asylum. When you apply for asylum, you're issued an alien registration number. If you don't have an alien registration number, as you can see, just put none. That is completely fine. USCIS online account, again, you're registering. If you're filing the form online, you will register for USCIS online account. Now, from the experience, I've seen some people, when they register the account with USCIS, sometimes they get that email that contains an online account number. Sometimes they don't. If you did not, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Just put none. If you did, just enter it here. Obviously, gender, male in our case. Marital status, he is single. Have you previously filed form? No. But obviously, that's if that's applicable to you. So you're going through, you're filling out your own information. Has the Social Security Administration ever officially issued Social Security card to you? In our example, it's no. Provide your Social Security number if known. because John Doe does not have, we will put none. Do you want SSA to issue your social security card? Yes, definitely. Of course you want that, because you know you're applying for employment authorization document so that you can legally work in the United States. You can legally work in the United States only if you have the social security number. So once you get the EAD, the next step is applying for social security card. Obviously with this, it kind of saves you time. So yes, you definitely want that. Consent for disclosure. I authorized the SSA, Social Security Administration, to get all this information to issue me the Social Security. Obviously, just say yes. This is, by the way, a newer addition that was added to the application. It wasn't here before, which I think is a great addition. Saves you a lot of time. You don't have to separately apply for Social Security card. So provide your father's birth name, first name, last name, your mother's first name, last name. Now this is for Social Security Administration. They need that for security purposes. If you need to call in or something like that, that's what they will ask you, your parents' information. Your country or countries of citizenship or nationality. So in our case, it's going to be Brazil. So obviously you put yours here. Information about you, still, place of birth, common sense. Information about your last arrival into the United States. The very first thing you see is Form I-94, Arrival Departure Record. Now, if you don't have that, I actually have a video on this channel that in detail explains how to look up your I-94, how to pull it up, because everything is online now. Before, it used to be they give you kind of like a white card, paper card. They attach it to your passport with your I-94 number. But now, unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So you have to pull it up online. Again, there is a video on this channel that describes how to do that. Passport number, travel document number, if any. If none, just not applicable. Country that issued your passport or travel document, expiration date, date of your last arrival into the United States, place of your last arrival into the United States. For example, if you flew into New York, then it's going to be New York. Immigration status at your last arrival. So in our case, John Doe, he came as a student, right? And then he applied for asylum. So when he arrived, he was student F1. But again, this is the example information. In your case is going to be however you came in, with whatever status that you came in. Your current immigration status or category, for example, B2 visitor, F1, parolee, deferred action, or no status category. So here, because it asks for immigration status or category, we can either type it in the immigration status itself, or we can put the category. So if you want to find the category, you'll actually have to go into the instructions, and we will try to find a category. And category makes it much easier because it's just actual kind of a code for the status, which is good. And we will already here, asylum refugee categories. That's for our John Doe. He is pending asylum. So we need to find a pending asylum here. There's asylee, already granted asylum. That's not for us. Granted withholding of deportation removal. That's not for us. Pending asylum. There we go. Pending asylum and withholding of removal applicants. Perfect. So that's C8. So C8. There we go. Very simple. Or you can type in pending asylum. Or you can just do... Where did it go? Sorry about that. Nope. Here we are. Pending asylum. Pending asylum. Or you can do that. Or you can just do pending asylum. Doesn't matter. But you get the point. This is what you're putting in here. Student and Exchange Visitor Information System, CVIS number. In our case, John Doe would have a CVIS number. But I will just type it in whatever for John Doe. But you get the point. If you're a student, you're gonna have that. If you're not currently a student or never were a student, you're not gonna have that. Just put not applicable. Okay, so now information about your eligibility category. Eligibility category is what we were just looking up, and in this case it's going to be C8. We already know that. This we can just leave blank or just put not applicable. C8, that's it. That's the pending asylum. But again, for you it's going to be different. If it's the same grade, if it's different, then you will have to find it here, whatever the categories. And there's plenty of them, plenty of different ones, different categories. For example, for post-completion OPT student, right? It's a C3B. So you will have to put it in here. Moving further, degree. That is in case if you're working with, you're applying based on kind of student information. Again, in our case, John Doe was a student when he came in, but he's not applying based on his student status. He's applying based on pending asylum status. That's different. So here, we're going to put not applicable. Employer's name as listed in E-Verify. Again, if you're applying for EAD based on employment, then it's going to be, in our case, that's not the case though. Employer E-Verify company identification number. In our case, it's not the case, but if it's applicable to you, then you should find that out and enter it here. C26 eligibility category. Again, this is not for us, but keep in mind, it might be for you. C8 eligibility category. Okay, that is for us because John Doe is pending asylum. If you enter the eligibility category C8 in item number 27, yes we did, have you ever been arrested for and or convicted of any crime? Hopefully for you it's no. We will put no in here. C35, obviously, go through all of this. If any of these are applicable, you will have to fill them out. Okay, moving further, applicant statement, contact information, declaration, clarification, certification, and signature. So congratulations. This is the end of the application. Great. It wasn't that bad at all. It's only 20 minutes into the video, and now you know how to fill out the application. Pretty straightforward. You have three options. Either you yourself did it, or there's an interpreter, or there was a preparer for you. So most likely it's going to be you. So we're going to just put this. I'm in this case, I'll say I am John Doe filling out for myself. Applicant's contact information, date on phone. I would recommend putting 2 different phone numbers. If you don't have a second phone number, office phone, work phone, whatever, you can put maybe your household's number, your very trusted contact's number, just in case. If immigration is trying to reach you and they can't, they'll call the other number. Email, I definitely recommend putting the email address in here, just again so that if there's any correspondence that USCIS wants to send you, they can. Okay, so we got the declaration signature. You won't be able to put in obviously on the computer. You'll have to print it out with black ink. Go back, go through the whole thing. The empty fields you put not applicable, and then the empty fields that you need to fill out, you fill them out. Date of signature, make sure to put it in the right format. And then if there is interpreter, if there is a preparer, that's where their information goes. The very last page here is the additional information page. Basically, if you, for example, were filling something out and you run out of space, or if there is an additional, with this application you might probably not going to have that because there's not much stuff in general. But if you do want to provide anything extra, you can definitely do that. You fill it out, you specify the page number, part number, and item number, and then you provide your additional information. And that's really it with the application. Now let's talk about the price of this application, and then we will talk about where to file this application. So let's start with the price. You can see the filing fee right here in this drop down. Again, if you're watching this video, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, this might be different. The price changes, stuff changes, stuff gets updated. So currently it is $410. Also, there might be a biometric fee of $85. So on top of this, there might also be an $85 fee. Keep that in mind. Now, the $85 biometric fee is applicable for the following categories. There's C35, C36, C37. If that's for you, then you will have to add the $85 fee as well. There is no waiver for C33 category. C37, there is no fee waiver for your form I-765. Base fee for 110 or biometric. There is no fee waiver for your form. Okay, so for C37, they cannot do the fee waiver. Now, if you're interested in fee waiver, and the fee waiver you can file based on your hardship, based on your, if you, and in our case, for example, for for our John Doe, it's definitely applicable, because he's been here pending asylum, and he doesn't, he didn't work all this time. So of course financially he is struggling. Okay, so for him, the fee waiver definitely sounds like the right thing to do. I've done a separate video. It's called File for Free, How to Apply for Fee Waiver from USCIS, something along those lines. It's uploaded on this channel. Find it, check it out. If it's applicable to you, I recommend filling out, because you might be able to save $410, maybe even $495 if you have to pay the biometric fee. So definitely check that out. Honestly, I'm surprised to see that there is no exception, the fee exception for C8 category, pending asylum, or even granted asylum, just because, again, these are the kind of like a categories where you're applying and you're waiting, and all this time you cannot work. So you will be struggling. You will experience financial hardship regardless. But keep that in mind. That's the current fee, and you can file a waiver unless you are in this C37 category. Okay, so let's say you're filing by mail. You're not filling out the online application, which I highly recommend. Where do you file? Where do you send this paper application? Okay, so let's talk about that really quickly. I'll show you the filing locations. It's here, where to file. There's this link right here, and we're going to open it in the new window. And as you can see, for each different category, there will be a different address. Now, for our case, let's see if we can find it for pending asylum, asylees, refugees. Let's see if there's pending asylum, foreign, eligible dependents, certain specified countries, employment, family, if you have pending adjustment of status. Nope. Current former members. Okay, let's see this. Let's see if there's a C8. Yes, asylum applicant, C8. So for the C8, this is where it would go, as you can see, in Dallas, Texas. If you're sending it USPS, if you're sending it FedEx, UPS, DHL deliveries, you send it directly to USCIS, not their PO box. Keep that in mind. Now, for whatever category, let's say you're, based on your student. There you go. Whatever kind of student, whatever kind of category, there are different addresses. Most of them are in Chicago. And then, of course, there is also USCIS lockbox file and location chart for certain employment-based forms or whatever. So again, whatever category, depending based on your filing, you will be able to find it here. Now, let's talk about some additional stuff that you will actually have to provide. There's not a lot of stuff, but I will show you just in case so that you know. Again, for each different one, as you can see here, you will have to provide basically showing, you will have to provide the documentation that shows that the eligibility category that you selected in the application to support that basically eligibility criteria. So we're gonna find our C8 here, pending applicant for asylum. There we go. So if you are filing for employment authorization document based on pending application for asylum, C8, this is what you will have to provide. You'll have to provide the evidence of a lodged or filed form I-589. That just can be a simple notice of receipt from USCIS showing that they have accepted your form I-589, which is the application for asylum, which I've done actually step-by-step video for that as well on this channel. If an immigration judge denied your form, if that's the case, if BIA, Board of Immigration Appeals, if that's the case, if federal court, if that's the case, proof of arrest. So you see, here, the only real, most of the times for most people, the only thing that they're going to need is evidence that they filed the form I-589 and that it was accepted. Let's say if you're applying for F1, based on F1, as you can see, there's a few different categories, who was offered off-campus employment. All right, well, let's check that out. Did you provide the following? The international organization's letter of certification that the proposed employment is within the scope of its sponsorship, a copy of your form I-120 with the employment page completed by designated school official. Again, not a lot of documents, very straightforward. Whatever your category based on your applying for employment authorization, just go through this page. I will put this specific page link in the description below. Go through it, find exactly what you need, and that's it. There are some general requirements, a copy of your form I-94. I've done a video on how to pull up your form I-94, or copy of your last employment authorization. Most of the people, they're applying for the first time, so you're not going to have that. 2 identical photos, passport style photographs. Form G28 if you're represented by an attorney. If you're not, you don't need to worry about it. If you're not previously issued an EAD, copy of government issued identity document. So just your identification card, your ID card, or your driver's license. And that's really it. that's really it. As you can see, pretty straightforward. There are some filing tips. If you're filing the form by mail, there are some special instructions. If you have a certain very kind of narrow, all right, it's not going to be applicable to a lot of people. And there's some related links again if you want to do additional research. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this in this video, just so that I don't drag it out. What I'm going to do instead is, if you have any questions, all right, as you go and you're filling out the applications, drop them in the comments below. On this channel, I do at least once a week. I go through all of the comments in the video. I go through all of the comments, I read them out loud, and I answer them. And I call these videos answering your immigration related questions and comments by volume. The most recent volume that I've posted was volume 16. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to turn on the notification, because these videos, they go live. And when they're premiering, when they're live, I am also in the chat, and I'm answering the questions in the chat as well. So you can ask your question in the comments, or you can ask your question during the live premiere. So as always, hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you for your support. Always appreciate you're supporting this channel and watching these videos. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.